Hello, this is Kerry Shamblin with the September 2023 Astrological forecast from the Vedic astrology perspective. The Sun continues his royal parade through Leo until September 17th, when he steps into Virgo, which could help us all get moving on practical steps through October 17th. As August yields to September, we still have the heat of summer, reflected in the Sun's powerful transit through Leo. During the first half of September, there could be strong themes of the standoff that arises when the ego insists on self-fulfillment, while just as strongly, the call of the collective demands that social fabric be upheld for the good of all. When the Sun shifts to Virgo mid-September, there should be a strong sense of relief as individual projects get pushed out to the front of the workspace. Prepare by making plans now to maximize the productive space of late September. The Moon. The new moon in Leo is on September 14th, which comes after a fortnight of waning, after August's second full moon on August 30th. The few days leading up to a new moon can remind us that our mental and physical energy is not infinite, which can result in a feeling worn out or tired. After the moon begins to wax, Mercury resumes direct motion, and we may begin to feel both emotionally stronger and intellectually more acute as the last half of September unfolds. The full moon in Pisces, Uttarabhadra, on September 29th, will be a culmination of sorts as we pass through the autumnal equinox on September 23rd, transitioning us into a new season. Mars, powerful Mars, is spending the entire month of September moving through Virgo, the earth sign ruled by Mercury. This is strong energy for adjustments inspired by factual data analysis. If there's work to be done, numbers to be crunched, harvest to be pulled in, Mars will be supportive this month. With so much other energy of instability, reversals, and confusion prevailing through the chorus of retrograde motion, we can draw upon the laser focus of Mars to keep us on point. Mars in Virgo is good for working with the hands and pushing forward in a friendly manner. Mercury energy is important for everyday tasks like communication, self-care, and managing finances. Mercury moves fast, sometimes too fast. Since August 23rd, Mercury has been spinning fast with his second retrograde phase of 2023, which concludes on September 15th. The instability of planets retreating through the zodiac for a short time is a big theme this month, with retrograde Mercury opposite retrograde Saturn. It could be a challenge managing rapidly changing schedules. Remain calm and consciously slow down. Mercury will spend all of September in Leo, retrograde and highly charged for the first half, and resuming forward march during the second. Don't be surprised if fiery speech is another theme. Jupiter governs our urge to grow, fruit, and multiply as we stretch higher toward a broader understanding of life and its purpose. Jupiter will be moving through the fiery, active, and powerful environment of Aries from April of 2023 through April 2024. On September 4th, Jupiter begins a retrograde phase that continues through December 30th. Retrograde status can make the results and effects of a planet a bit unpredictable. This could depress the feeling of positive hope a bit, especially with the effects of both Saturn and Rahu weighing on Jupiter. Knowing that this is a temporary pattern, fall back on logic, numbers, and strategies to keep plans on track. Venus is the star of September, shining brightly in the eastern sky before sunrise. On September 3rd, Venus resumes direct motion after a retrograde cycle that began July 22nd. Late July through August, may have been a time of retreat from social situations and relationships. Old connections may have reemerged, inviting second chances. As Venus resumes direct motion in the sign of Cancer, the remainder of September sees the bright planet representing love and beauty, enjoying the emotional, vulnerable, and sensitive waters of the moon's sign. Feel all the feels and go deep this month. Saturn. The pressure and deliberate action that we feel from Saturn could feel a bit lighter through September as Saturn continues retrograde motion through the humanitarian sign of Aquarius. Through mid-September, Saturn's collective perspective could challenge individual agendas. Continue to search for solutions that can satisfy the masses while still supporting individual preferences. Through October, Saturn's risk aversity may be somewhat relaxed, which could help push projects forward. Keep an eye on the bottom line, but it may be time to push the envelope. Rahu. The ingenious but unpredictable energy of Rahu continues to ignite the fire signs Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The nodal axis is made up of Rahu, the head, and Ketu, the tail of the cosmic dragon, and moves in tandem reverse motion, churning our lives. Rahu is in Aries through late October 2023. This is the final couple of months of Rahu's transit through Aries, which could continue to stir things up for many, especially if Aries or Leo signs are prominent in your horoscope. Keep open to opportunities that may arise and recede quickly. The life lessons designed to teach us that we can't control most things could keep coming. Ketu. Ketu, the silent counterpart of Rahu, will remain in Venus's air sign Libra through late October 2023. The effects of Ketu can feel like obstruction, blindness, or reversal of situations. With 2 months remaining of this current placement of Ketu, we may begin to see our way around what has been blocking us. As you identify how you have remained stuck in some place of your life, begin to rearrange the pieces to allow yourself a channel to flow. For an in-depth analysis of specific planetary placements, please continue to listen to the full planetary forecast. Mars in Virgo during September. Mars entered Mercury's Earth sign of Virgo on August 18th and will move into Libra on October 3rd. This puts Mars in a good position to get work done, move things around, and reassign power output. With Mercury retrograde for the first half of September, Mars may be the voice of reason amidst a flurry of activity and multitasking. When Mars exited Leo in mid-August, he was also exiting from 3 notable influences coming at him from Saturn in Aquarius and the Jupiter plus Rahu combination in Aries. If it seemed like things began to move, click into place, or begin to work around mid-August, it could be Mars's new post in Virgo that is inspiring this. Rather than being aspected by others, Mars is pushing back. Transiting through Virgo gives Mars an aspect on Sagittarius, which could be intense, but not necessarily in a bad way, as the Jupiter and Rahu combination is also impacting Sagittarius. Mars will also be aspecting Jupiter's watery sign of Pisces, as well as his own fire sign of Aries, where the Jupiter and Rahu combo is actually sitting. Continue to ride this energetic train through September. The chaos and pressure of Saturn and Rahu will always be landing somewhere in our lives. Enjoy this window of facility where power can be organized and directed in a productive way. There may even be an increase in momentum when Mercury in Leo regains direct motion on September 15th. Venus goes direct in Cancer on September 3rd. By late August, early morning risers will have noticed the gorgeous shining planet Venus rising before the sun in the eastern sky. The retrograde phase of Venus will change on September 3rd, as Venus stations in direct motion at 18 degrees Cancer. Venus is the planet that pushes the agenda of connection, oneness, beauty, creativity, and vitality. Most human beings desire the Venus-related things in life: relationships, comfort, good food, and beautiful things. Venus began her retrograde cycle in the early degrees of Leo on July 22nd, beginning to move away from her pursuit of Mars through the spring months, then retreating back into the sign of Cancer on August 7th. After regaining forward motion on September 3rd, Venus will move through the latter degrees of Cancer, moving back into Leo on October 1st. Venus originally transited in forward motion through Cancer from May 30th through July 7th. It could be that the events of June that were connected to Venus could get another chance to express. During June of 2023, when Venus first moved forward through Cancer, Mars was heavily involved, which could have been quite passionate, yet possibly frustrating. During September of 2023, Venus will be solo cruising through the moon's watery sign, allowing us to feel into our emotional life and connections with others in a very sensitive way. Feeling the vibes of what makes us comfortable emotionally is a great practice for this month. Not only is Venus unaccompanied in Cancer, the sign of Cancer itself is a fantastic safe space this month, with no other intense aspects chopping up the waters. This could be great for gaining emotional clarity, as well as deep diving into artistic or music projects and pursuits. With Cancer being connected to nesting and home environments, this could be a good month to polish up the look of your home by deep cleaning or cosmetic upgrades. Retrograde Venus may have brought back previous connections or relationships for your consideration. Forward-moving Venus is ready to make things stick if the current connections are feeling nurturing and supportive in these new-old relationships. The forward jaunt of Venus in Cancer will be entirely in the nakshatra of Ashlesha, a dynamic environment ruled by Mercury. The practical, analytical energy of Mercury could be helpful as we navigate intensifying connections. Jupiter goes retrograde in Aries on September 4th through December 30th. As Venus stations direct, the great Jupiter stations retrograde on September 4th, keeping our retrograde season clicking along through December. Jupiter assumes retrograde status at 22 degrees Aries in the nakshatra of Bharani, and will travel all the way back to 12 degrees Aries by December 30th, when he once again bounces his way in forward motion through Aries. Any planet in retrograde motion can give us wild card results. Jupiter's natural push for positivity, growth, truth, and wisdom could deflate a bit during this 4-month period. Not that Jupiter stops being a good guy, it's just that what is good could seem a little puzzling, making us question what is actually true, good, and beautiful. Jupiter entered into Aries on April 20th, 2023, joining Rahu, which created some turbulence for many of us. Jupiter joining Rahu can create situations where rapid growth is possible, but assurance that the direction is right must be solid. Galloping off in fits and starts or jetting off into the wrong regions could have been a theme in the past 4 months. Jupiter will be alone in Aries for the final 4 months of his year-long Aries run, when Jupiter resumes direct motion at 12 degrees Aries in the last pada of Ashwini Nakshatra. This pivot of Jupiter just as 2023 comes to a close, could be a very positive moment where we go either backwards or forwards to the first steps of a new enterprise or venture, a do-over, or giddy-up situation where either way we're on the road to growth and a new phase of learning. During Jupiter's retrograde phase, the Rahu-Ketu axis will also be shifting. There are two calculation methods for pinpointing the location of the north and south nodes of the moon, which are actually abstract mathematical points that can only be observed when the axis aligns with a sun-moon conjunction at the new moon or a sun-moon opposition at the full moon. The nodal axis location progresses through the zodiac in an opposite direction from the usual path of the sun and moon. This anti-zodiacal motion is accompanied by a wobbly nature, which actually sees this axis move in forward motion sometimes. Tracking the exact location of the nodal axis yields our true node calculation. We have developed a way to smooth out this wobbly path by averaging the location of the nodal axis, resulting in our mean node calculation. When we are thinking about this upcoming shift as applied to our own lives or horoscopes, we want to know when this shift will occur. The mean node shift of Rahu to Pisces and Ketu to Virgo occurs on October 29th, while the true node shift occurs on November 29th, giving us about a month window where we may feel comparable shifts in our own lives as the nodal axis settles into position for the next 1.5 years. September sees Jupiter begin retrograde motion. October will show us an eclipse pairing affecting the signs of Virgo and Libra at the annular solar eclipse on October 14th, and then Aries at the partial lunar eclipse on October 28th and 29th. Just after the lunar eclipse at the end of October, the Rahu-Ketu axis begins to shift, leaving retrograde Jupiter alone in Aries through year's end. The separation of Jupiter and Rahu, followed by Jupiter's subsequent return to direct motion in fiery Aries, implies that in order for us to fully embody the positive, powerful growth that Jupiter alone in Aries implies from December 2023 through April 2024, we may have to release something that we really want to hold on to. As we work up to these astrological events that move us through the final quarter of 2023, start now with a task of detangling what you want from what is good for your forward progress and long-term growth. Jupiter's retrograde cycle starting September 4th may slow things down enough in some realm that it is possible to back out of whatever isn't working and reevaluate direction and resources. Jupiter loves a good investment and is wise enough to know when a good investment has gone wrong. New moon in Leo, Uttara Falguni, on September 14th. The strong sun in Leo will have the moon come into join for the new moon at 28 degrees Leo, in the sun's own nakshatra of Uttara Falguni, on September 14th. With the trio of impactive aspects still coming into Leo from Aquarius and Aries, we could find ourselves ready to really scrap it all and start fresh in some way. If it hasn't yet become clear that some things are working and some aren't, and that in order to move forward, what is not working needs to be remediated or rejected, it will likely become clear by mid-September. Notice which of the fruits have ripened on your trees and begin the process of harvesting. What has not fruited will be ready for compost. Notice where your energy drains are. Take stock of what charges you up and what makes you shine. Joining the sun and moon in Leo will be retrograde Mercury, just as the last few hours of his recent retrograde phase, slowing down to stop and move forward again. This could feel like a pivotal moment when what has passed will recede, whether we are ready or not. Shed the skin and get ready to wiggle forward. As the moon waxes through the latter half of September, we may be moving toward new creative endeavors, fresh connections, and relationships to expand our engagement with life. The next new moon occurs on October 14th, as the sun and moon meet in the late degrees of Virgo, close enough to the shifting nodal axis to cause an annular solar eclipse at the juncture of the signs Virgo and Libra. Mercury goes direct in Leo on September 15th. Mercury lingering in Leo has been extended due to a retrograde cycle that wraps up on September 15th, just a couple of days before the sun transits to Virgo, after which Mercury alone will remain in Leo, the sign that is currently receiving the most intense, compound, and challenging aspects from the outer planets. This signals deep, disruptive, and inevitable change for the Leos among us, or for the house in one's personal horoscope that coincides with the sign of Leo. Generally, Mercury retrograde periods can be quite active, either by choice or by circumstance. While active, it may not be wholly productive, due to indulgence in too much multitasking or overextending time-bound schedules. As Mercury comes to a stall at 14 degrees Leo in the nakshatra of Purva Falguni on September 15th, we may find ourselves taking stock of the frenetic events of the past month, with compound retrograde planets mutually aspecting, specifically Saturn and Mercury, both retrograde and opposing one another in Aquarius and Leo, respectively. The last week of August through mid-September could feel busy, urgent, and full of expectations. When Mercury resumes direct motion, and the Sun also moves out to Virgo, we may begin to gain confidence in our projects and directions, inspired and excited to dive into new creative pursuits, including music, fine arts, writing, and performance of all kind. When Mercury resumes direct motion, it will be receiving aspects from retrograde Jupiter in Aries, as well as nearly always retrograde Rahu in Aries, as well as directly across the board from retrograde Saturn in his own sign, who is also pushing on the pairing in Aries. This is quite a powerful flow of pressure and movement that, due to the instability and unpredictability of retrograde motion expressing through both Saturn and Jupiter, could require that a great deal of recalibration be applied to our plans on a daily basis. Direct moving Mercury will advance quickly through the latter degrees of Leo, entering his own sign of Virgo on October 1st. Mercury leaves Leo as Venus enters, moving through Leo from October 1st to November 2nd, giving us one more month and one more planet to creatively confront the life-shaping influences from Saturn, Jupiter, and Rahu before that structure begins to break up starting in November. Sun transits Virgo from September 15th through October 17th. Sun transits Virgo September 17th through October 17th. With Mercury left to remedy and manage the continuing choppy push-pull energy coming into Leo, the Sun moves onto Virgo on September 17th. For the first half of this Sun transit through Virgo, the effects of Sun and Mercury will be energized and improved by a parivartana, an exchange of signs. Sun is in Virgo, hosted by Mercury, and Mercury in Leo is hosted by the Sun. This exchange creates a strong bond temporarily between the two planets involved, elevating their function and results. The Sun joins Mars in Virgo for the first couple weeks of his Virgo transit, bringing fire and focus to the projects governed by Mars. Those with significant placements in either the sign of Virgo or its opposite, Pisces, could feel empowered by this transit through the later part of September. Virgo is a sign ruled by the earth element, which provides good grounding for the fiery influences of Sun and Mars combined. Get fired up and make sure you are grounded while doing it. Avoid impulsive decisions that are motivated by impatience or frustration. Mercury and Sun in exchange give us the perspective and the data. It's up to us to manage our decisions and directions. Full moon in Pisces, Uttarabhadra, on September 29th. Depending upon your location on Earth, you will see the full moon in Pisces late in the evening of September 28th or early in the morning of September 29th. The Sun at 12 degrees Virgo beams directly across the zodiac, catching the moon full-faced at 12 degrees Pisces. The moon will be in the sign of Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, and more specifically in the nakshatra of Uttarabhadra, ruled by Saturn. This cradling of the vulnerable moon by the weavers of time and space is further echoed by Saturn and Jupiter flanking the moon, who is in Pisces, as they occupy the adjacent signs. After some intense months behind us, this could be a moment where, even amidst a perpetual pile of detritus and disorganization, we can see the big picture and have some faith that even though we can't see around the next bend, we are indeed on the right road. A special combination of practical foundation and positive bravado should be able to push us up and out when the time is right. With the retrograde status of both Jupiter and Saturn affecting this full moon, it would be wise to plan and scheme your forward progress while remaining open to unexpected twists and turns that could provide both depth and breadth to the plans you may be cooking up. That's it for September 2023. Look forward to talking to you in October.